Hello everyone, how are you today? Thank you for joining us on Word Blast. All right, good to see you again. Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. And I want to thank you that tonight you are going to spend time with us as you hear our discussions. We are going to continue from where we stopped last time. We began talking about this issue of taking off mute. And we're talking to you in the last discussions about how the church really can be a place of safety. Because for so many of us who have gone through trauma with either sexual abuse or the issues that have come across us in so many ways that have crushed so many of us, the church has a role to play in helping to bring out the people who have been victims. And I want to tell you tonight, if you have been a victim, this talk is for you. The talk is for all of us as we begin to come out of that place of abuse and come to a place of victory. God's plan for you is to give you victory. So tonight, as we talk, we're going to listen to a team that will share some sound truth with you. You are going to be so blessed. Just listen as we begin to talk about how can the church help to bring us out of that place, and how can the church be a place of safety. You see, the truth is, we want to be a place where you can come to and you can share what's on your heart, share who you are, and you will not be condemned. Because the Bible is very clear that in the same way Jesus Christ said to the woman that was condemned, who or where are those who condemn you? Neither will I condemn you. You see, we can't condemn you. We will not condemn you. We will never condemn you. The Word of God even says clearly that Jesus Christ will not condemn you because you are in Him. God bless you tonight. Please listen as you are blessed. I want to pray for you real quick before you start, okay? Father, I thank you that tonight as we listen to your word, and as we hear these discussions, they will begin to help to bring out peace, bring out strength, and bring life to those who listen in the name of Jesus.
Hello everyone. It's another beautiful Wednesday and we're so excited to be in your midst. Right here in our world, Word Blast, building lives around sound truth. That's our world. The word of God build. Whatever we're going to be saying is going to be guided by the word of God, and it's the truth, because that's what the word of God is. His spirit and his life, his truth and his hope. So that's what we're going to be doing. And today, like I always say, get everyone, mommy, daddy, brothers and sisters. You can get your pastor too over there. Come along, everyone sit down. So you won't get an excuse to say you want to go get something, because if you move, you're going to miss something. So get your favorite snack. It's your popcorn. You're going to enjoy yourself today, so there's not going to be a dull moment. And with me here, I have those that are going to be diving into this world of life today, and they're going to be dishing it according to your specification. For those of you that like chicken and chips, they're going to be doing that. I always like to say that. So we have here, and we have here, and we have here,
Shalom God.
and then we have here, and then you have me, your host, all right? So we're going to be talking about for the love of words. We did that some weeks ago, so we're going to continue. We told you that we're going to break it down and teach it bit by bit, so we get it, we understand it, and then we'll run with it. And that will help us in our daily lives. Now we're going to be talking about take me off mute. What's the perspective of the church? What I mean, take me off mute means for us not to be quiet anymore, for us not to be silent, not to be afraid, so we can speak out. Now I'm going to ask Pastor Ifo, how can the church be of help? To help that individual that is so scared and afraid and cannot speak because they cannot trust anyone. How can church be of help? That's one. What is the biblical implication, about speaking out, about help? I want you to bring it down to understanding. So sometimes we're so afraid to come to the church because we feel that we're being judged before coming to it, because the church looks so holy. So how can we come down to us that are not holy? So I'd like to say something about that.
Okay, I think one vital thing is that the church is a place of love. Jesus said, "By this shall men know you are my disciples, when you love one another." The major attribute, the major thing that you reflect that we are disciples of Jesus, or we are his followers, he's the head, we are the body, is the type of love that we portray, that we radiate, that emanates from us.
Yeah.
So it's vital. And Jesus said we should love one another as he has loved us. He didn't love us when we were perfect. The Bible says God commended his love towards us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. So it's foundational for us as a church that we should be embracing. We should be so loving. Jesus was so loving. You know, Bible calls him, some people call him a friend of sinners. You know, all kinds of people came to Jesus. Zacchaeus, the woman by the well, not because they were perfect, but his love for them was perfect, and that's what transformed their lives. So I think it's vital that that foundation is there in the church. So we have that attitude, you know, and we show that attitude in the way we carry out our activities, the way we relate with people, so that people feel free to come and ask for help.
Basically, we're saying that as a church, we should show love. So that's one of the ways, you know, we can make them comfortable to come to us and speak. So Pastor God, what would you, you know, say about that?
Okay, one of the things to really take people off mute is to build the bridge, you know, between them and us. You'll find out that generally we have been built up in a system or in a community where our leaders are superheroes, our leaders are supermen. They don't cry, they don't have scars, you know, so they are so perfect. And we create that image so much so that when people fall into some of these circumstances, they feel that we are too far away, we are not approachable. They can't trust to, you know, come to us and feel that they would still be adequate with us, you know. So that gap is there. And so I think one of the ways to remove the people off mute is to actually bridge this gap. Bridge this gap by making the leaders of the church, by making the people in the church approachable, so that they know that they can come to you no matter what happens.
Yeah. Oh, so that's an amazing one, because when we feel that you are untouchable, we cannot go close to you, that keeps us guarded and don't want to speak, because we feel that when we come there, you might see us as not worthy. So if I don't see myself worthy, why should I come to you? So for the church, we have to be like Jesus. There was something about Jesus that even when the demons see him without speaking, they speak. They know their place. When the woman that with the issue at the well saw Jesus, she was about to go, but just like no, because that's what she's used to. These people are already used to the people throwing things against them, but that's not responsibility of the church. So when we bridge that gap, we can take them off it. That's an amazing one. So what would you have to say to that?
Okay, we want to add to their points. Just like I said, the church also should be a place of trust. Outside, we show you love and bridging the gap. It's not only the job of the pastors. It's not only the job of the counselors and the deacons. It also comes to us as just members. You might just be just a mere member coming to church just to fellowship. What is your role? How do you relate with your fellow brothers and sisters? Do you just interact with them? They tell you this is what is going on in my life, I need your assistance. Then the next minute they find someone else talking about what you guys just discussed. So it's not really about the issue. It's not really about the pastor's responsibility. Most times people don't actually go and meet their pastors. They might just meet their close friends around. They might just meet someone they are really they are used to, stuff like that. So you have to be able to trust. And when these people come to meet you, what do you do? What action? What step do you take? Most times some people will be like, before I will advise that you don't even want to go and meet your pastor first. You should ask them like, okay, I would like to bring this person into this issue. Are you okay with it? It's not just okay, let me run and tell the pastor. That person might not be okay with at least coming out yet fully. But you can just ask, okay, can I just bring this person? I feel like this person will be able to assist us in this area, or help you in this area.
So basically, the church does not just consist of only the pastor. So it's also about me and you. Because sometimes not everybody can get to the pastor. Sometimes you don't even need to get to the pastor. If I can reach you, and and I'm able to trust you, then the job of the church is done. Because the job of the church is to build you and me. You understand? So we can build others. So I would want you to. So thank you for that one. That's very important. So, like we said, love, building the gap, trust.
Yeah, in addition to what they've said, I think the church will, it would be great and awesome if people who go under this experience are able to see the church as a home, as a family, in that, it's not just about, like she said, it's not just about going to meet the pastor. It's about knowing that I have a home in the church. I have a unit where I can go and say, here, if I lay down this burden, they will be able to drag me out of it and make me feel, so it's there is also work for the church in that they would have to educate themselves. And I'm not just talking the pastors now, I mean every individual, to know that, look, this is where we are, and this has always been since day past. So whenever it so happens that somebody falls into this and comes to you, this is how you react. This is what you do. So the entire church is educated.
So that brings me to my next question, because I love what you're saying right now.
Okay.
Talking about the responsibility of the church. Because the church is not just the pastor.
Yeah.
So like we said earlier,
Yeah.
it's about you and me. It's about discipleship. It's about building people. That's what the church is all about. So if it's just about the pastor will be the one talking to himself. So for me to be able to bring you, for me to be able to bring you to my church, somebody must have seen something on the inside of me to want to identify with my church. So it has to do with me first, then the church. Now I'm going to say this. How can the church be a safe place? How can I trust the church enough? What's our responsibility as the church to make sure that we're doing the right thing? You understand? Because sometimes these people don't trust the church, because some of them might be wounded by the church. Because when I tell you something, I'll hear it on the altar. And sometimes we do things amiss or in ignorance, not that we're doing it on purpose to hurt you, but there's someone that's at stake that's not comfortable. So what do you think the church can do to correct these things and to make me feel secure to want to run to you and speak up? Because not all the time I want to speak up. So how can I come to you and speak up? So I'll start with you, Pastor God.
Okay. But first of all, when I talked about bridging the gap, once the gap is bridged, people feel that you are approachable. Now, apart from that, I think that.
Sorry to cut you, Pastor. How
Yeah.
do we bridge this gap? Because sometimes people will just be saying, bridge the gap, bridge the gap. So how do we as the church bridge this gap to the one that is out there so they can come together and grow? Because as the church is growing, I'm growing.
Very
So
Okay, so one key word I would like to use is the word involvement. Involvement. John Maxwell always says that you touch their heart before you ask for their hand, right? No one really wants to know how much you care, right?
Yeah.
Until you know
how much you know.
You care.
How
you
much
know,
you know.
how
much you know.
No.
Yes, say it again.
Until you know how much you care.
How much you care.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Not
Now-
how much you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you find out that the people are more open to you when you are involved, when you are concerned about their lives, when you are concerned about what they are doing, you are concerned about the little details of their lives. They are more open to know that once you are as involved as this in their lives, then they can also be reciprocal in that same vein. So I think that as much as we open up the involvement between the church and the members will also reciprocate and also being involved with
So
some of
in
this.
other words, we have to be approachable.
Beautiful.
So we don't have to see you as the almighty that I cannot. So once the church is able to bridge that, she said, no, I'm not what you think I am. I am just like you. I'm approachable. Come to me. My hands are wide open, and this is a place of safety. So you get comfortable. So if I have that, then so that's so about info.
All right, I think the type of messages we preach are also vital, because when we preach messages of love, when we preach messages that are not condemning, you know, I think it affects people. It can encourage them. You know, when the words that you are saying from the pulpit are words that make people know that no matter who they are, their lives can be changed. There is hope for them, that God can still touch them. You know, that message of love and grace that Jesus, you know, preached, and he also manifested with his life. So I think our messages are vital. So if we're preaching messages that are condemning in nature, messages that are, you know, there are certain messages that people preach, and you know, you make people want to be hypocrites because they want to just hide. They want to
Pretend,
just
because they don't
pretend.
feel worse than the way they were
Exactly,
before.
because of that message. So I think it's vital that the kind of messages we preach, messages of love, messages of hope, messages that no matter who you are, God can change you. So people know that they can be themselves, but they trust God to change them.
So by the time they come in, they become a better version of themselves. So they don't feel worse than, oh, I'm dead. Because so that sinned shall die. I remember one time, a little girl was telling the mom, say, Mommy, you shall die. You shall die. They say, you shall die. The mom was like, what? She said that's what they taught them in their church. Because they say, so that sinned she shall die. So the mom said something. I said, Mommy, you shall die. Because she felt it wasn't right. So that's not what we're supposed to be teaching. That's not what the scripture is talking about. Because the gospel, because good news, is word of hope, of joy, of peace, word of restoration, not of condemnation. That's not what Jesus Christ. Bible says I think it's a gospel of love, because Bible says for God so loved the world that he gave up. He gave, so very important. So the question is, some of it are just coming in. We're talking about how can the church take me off mute? How can I be comfortable enough to want to come to the church and feel that safety? So I think so. I will ask you. So what do you think?
Okay. Well, in addition to what Dave said, you see, love is the foundation of the church, as it is, and if that can be pushed out there for them to understand that, look, this is a place of love. If I don't go here, then where else will I go? If that notion can be driven out, then anybody that finds themselves in this situation knows that, okay, if I'm sick, I'll go to the hospital. Now, this is the case. This is where I am. This is my sickness at this point in time. Where will I go to? The church is where I will go to. So, yes, the church does have a lot of work there. And I think we've been doing great so far, because with all I've been seeing online and everything that's been going out there, yes, the church has been saying, look, it is not your fault. It is not your fault that you were raped. Do not feel guilty about it. There are people, there are counselors that are there to counsel you. So, of course, it's just about the notion that goes with it and making people understand that, look, you are more than just a victim. This is just an experience.
Yeah. Okay, so what's your take on it?
Okay, from what they have all said, I would just like to say the church should be, like you said, we should watch the message that being taught in pulpit or in church. The church should be a place that does not drive people who have issues. But you see, like the life of Jesus, you see the sinners, they were drawn to him and everything. Now we see, like, hey, points out something that Christianity is not a religion. You see religion are moving towards the holy, moving on the, when you see somebody who's dressed a certain kind of way or is behaving in kind of character, you'll be like, oh no, you're not for us, you're not among us. But that's not what Christianity is about. Christianity is a family. I feel like we all have to grow to that knowledge that we are all in one family. It does not matter the church you attend, but as long as you have received this life of Christ, we are all in one family. We are all in the family of God. So the church should not be a place where people who face through these type of things or go through these experiences,
Not stigmatized.
yeah,
and put them in one
we
corner.
now like drive them, like push them away from all the And like, no, we are too holy and
That's
stuff
true.
like that. We all have our own scars, and Christ has made us perfect and everything.
Yeah. He actually did not come for the perfect church. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So that was not his job. Okay? If we were perfect, he would not be here. Bible says while we were yet sinners, he died. So we were not perfect when he died, but he knew who we were. So that's the responsibility of the church. And we as a church, like we said, the church is not just about the pastor, because sometimes we're poking the pastor. The church is about all of us as individuals, because we are ambassadors of Christ. So it's our responsibility to bring people back. I was going to say something about it. I remember when I was walking on the street, I was going to the market, I wore my trouser, and this woman, they were just preaching. And the man said, you there on trouser, you will go to hell. Don't be, Imagine if I was not a Christian. Do you think I want to go to that church when I'm already as good as dead wearing this trouser? So sometimes what we say, it's very important. So if I feel like that, I felt so uncomfortable, then how can I come to the church when I've already been condemned? So we have a lot. So now I was going to say something. We talked about, we show love. Let's show love. Let's show love. I see that showing of love is a big word. So we need to narrow it down. How can we actually show love? We as a church, how can we show love? So, Pastor.
Okay. I think one of the ways is by creating structures where people can relate. Where people can open up. By structures here, I'm talking about maybe home fellowships or fellowship groups. And in these forums, people have people who are concerned about them. People are concerned, so you look out for each other. You relate with each other. You look out. So it's not just like what I've been saying here. It's not just about the pastor now. It's every one of us. So we all. So we have that little. Just like Jesus had disciples, that he interacted with, closely. So I think we need to create such structures, and we need to make every member of that unit, especially in quote mature believers or members of the church already, to have that concept of looking out for others, wanting to help reach out to build
So
others.
those who are eating bones should look out for those who are drinking milk.
Exactly.
So I think that's so that we can all get to the place of chewing bone. So that's a very good one, because sometimes we feel lost. These people feel lost because even when they come to the church, they don't know what to do. I was saying that question. So now that I've gone through, the church have welcomed me in, and they're saying we love you. What next? What's next? So which is important now, making me understand that when I belong to a particular group, then I can feel accepted and involved in the family, and then we can grow for them. So you that is chewing bone, like saying that, it's your responsibility to make sure that the person that is coming in feel comfortable enough to be able to speak up. So that's another way. Thank you, appreciate that.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that tonight. We have to take a break. We'll be back next week, so please join us again. And I want you to stay tuned, because at the end of this series, we're going to pray for you, pray for healing, pray for strength, pray for restoration. But in the meantime, thank you for joining us tonight. God bless you. See you next week.